Hey guys, so welcome to part two of these video series. So if you are just joining us for the video series, basically part one of this series and the next consecutive parts to come are going to revolve around basically showing you footages of me while I was in Canada, the footages that I got while I was in Canada, um, while giving you guys an update on what's been going on with my life, and maybe kind of describe here and there what's going on in the footages. So these footages, they're from July, mid-July to end of August of this year, 2017. So keep that in mind. And right now I'm kind of feeling like talking about what's been kind of going on um, in terms of my diet. So if you have been following me for a while, I've bulked up pretty hard. I did another dirty bulk. This would be like pretty much my third dirty bulk off season in a row, and I have to say it's definitely going to be my last, or at least that's the plan or intention going forward. But basically, let's see here. My bulking season went from okay. So basically, my last competition was in August of 2015. So that was my last contest season. That's when it ended, August 2015. And I reverse dieted up until October. So up until October, I was still kind of losing weight. But starting October, I started actually bulking up. So October 2015 all the way to November of 2016. So November of last year, I bulked. So that's about 13 months of bulking, and I started this contest prep or on season last November, November 2016, which was funny enough the same time I also did ayahuasca. Um, if you don't know what ayahuasca is, it's basically a psychedelic, a very powerful psychedelic, a very potent psychedelic that um, it's DMT pretty much, um, but DMT. If you like smoke DMT, typically the trip is like on average 15 minutes or so, unless it's like actually no, I take that back. DMT 5-MeO, yeah, it's about like 5-10 minutes. Uh, Regular DMT is like 10 to 15 minutes, but ayahuasca lasts about anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, depending on the individual. Um, yeah, my ayahuasca trips lasted. So I did two back-to-back ceremonies, and they each lasted at least 8 hours. Um, but anyways, I'll get into that maybe in my next video, or if the footages here are long enough, maybe I can get into that here. But I mainly want to just talk about for now what my fitness lifestyle has been like this past year. So the bulk. So I bulk from October 2015 to November of last year. So 13 months of bulking, dirty bulking. I actually went all the way up to 220 pounds. Um, and that was from being my lowest weigh-in of 160 on the day of my competition in 2015. So that's a hefty weight gain. That's like 60 pounds of fat gain pretty much, because I don't think I gained that much muscle. At this point, I'm probably gaining like 1 pound a year of muscle at most, simply because I've been lifting for a very long time. I want to say at the time I hit the 10-year mark. Right now it's going on like 11, 12 years. So the gains, the progress in terms of building muscle are very, 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 very slow. And to gain, 60 pounds of fat just to gain 1 pound of muscle, doesn't seem like such a good deal or a smart idea. Um, Now thinking about it, but of course at the time, even up until last year, I I had this, delusional thought um, that if I dirty bulked, that if I gained a shit ton of weight in the off season, um, then I should be a higher uh, stage weight, right? But that's definitely not the case. Um, yeah, I learned my lesson. It took me 3 dirty bulks off seasons to I wouldn't say realize this, because I simply had to be told this by my coach. I actually hired a coach for the first time this year, like an actual coach like um, who basically provides me with insights and guidance on dieting and training. So my coach is Alberto Nunez, and he of 3D Muscle Journey. He You can check out his Instagram, his YouTube. Just look up Alberto Nunez or uh, 3D MJ or 3D Muscle Journey, and you will see who my mentor is. But yeah, he was the one who basically told me, yeah, dude, like don't ever do the whole dirty bulking bullshit again, because it's very counterproductive. In fact, like it'll make dieting that much harder. You're gaining 60 pounds for like 1 or 2 pounds of muscle gain in the off season. And so it's just a dumb, 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 dumb thing to do, unless you get paid to be fat, but which is obviously not my case. Um, but yeah, it had to get to the point where I had to hire a mentor to tell me that I need to let go of the whole dirty bulking thing. Um, that I need to set realistic goals and have realistic expectations in mind, for my sanity's sake and for my health, because I'm pretty sure gaining 60 pounds of fat in a year is certainly not healthy, and certainly not productive either. But as you see here, I'm flexing with Frank. Frank is actually like 155 pounds here. I'm about 168 or 169, I believe. Um, right now, as I'm speaking, doing this voiceover and editing this video, I'm sitting at about an average of 157 pounds. So I've lost quite a bit of weight since I got back from Canada. And yeah, as I said in the previous video, I plan to step on stage December 9th, and right now it's November 5th. So a little less than 4.5 weeks out from this would make it my third competition. I will be competing in the men's NPC men's physique division, so it should be pretty interesting. I am natural, by the way. I'm 5'11" at 150, 57 pounds. So definitely an attainable natural goal for anyone looking into getting jacked. But yeah, those are my stats, and the only reason why I compete in the NPC division, which is non-drug tested, is because the NPC division just appealed to me. I like the fact that it's associated with the IFBB. Actually, I'm not so. I think they're not affiliated anymore as of like 2 months ago, but it is for a long time now. It was recognized by the IFBB, which leads to the Olympia, which is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. So that's what appealed to me. But to be completely honest, after this NPC show in particular, I'm probably going to hang up the coat in terms of competing in the NPC organization and get into the natural bodybuilding organization and the natural bodybuilding division, simply because I feel like that's where I don't want to say belong, because that's, people choose to fit in where they want. I want to say I just feel right for myself getting into natural bodybuilding and doing natural bodybuilding shows rather than, non-tested, NPC shows or anything of that sort. But yeah, that's just my plan going forward after this next competition. But of course, people's minds change, and I've been dieting since last November, and right now it's November 2017. So I've been dieting for a year now, and it's definitely, yeah, I feel it, especially this past week. It's been really hard, and these next 4.5 weeks until I step on stage, I know it's not going to get any easier, but I hired my coach Alberto because I simply wanted this, and I have to take full responsibility. And whatever I paid hard-earned money to get my coach's services, so I'm gonna follow through. I'm gonna commit to making the decisions to step on stage this year, and no matter what my emotions or my hunger levels are, this is what I have chosen, and I will take responsibility. And that's just being, in my opinion, being part of a man, or at least a man who's willing to push himself. And of course, like, we can all be philosophical and argue that none of this shit matters in the end, but it's more like, why not? It's fun to me. I mean, at the end of the day, like, if it wasn't fun on some level, despite on quote unquote all the pain and suffering, it's fun. Like, I enjoy seeing the progress. Seeing like new striations come up, the new veins come up. It's just so much fun for me. I just love the process. And yeah, if you were to ask me, like, would I recommend this kind of lifestyle to anybody else? Yeah, I mean, if I'd say, definitely try it out, and you will kind of see if you follow the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, and if you find yourself getting really into it and really passionate about it and just loving the process, yeah, it's probably right for you too. Um, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can commit to getting really, really low levels of body fat and tracking their, macros and all that day in, day out. It takes a certain kind of individual, a certain kind of craziness, certain kind of mental retardness to to get yourself into this lifestyle. So, I mean, you'll know if this was for you or not. Like if you're having fun, if you're having this weird perverted fun of getting really really shredded, really really jacked or whatever, um, then fuck yeah, man. Like by all means, dude, I'm here to push you to do that. Uh, but but like I said, like it's one of those things where it's a very small niche. So uh, don't expect to have a lot of people relate to you when you go down this rabbit hole, because it is kind of a nerdy. It's almost nerdier than uh, I guess how would you describe? I can't really think of an example right now, but it's kind of like a cult. Natural bodybuilding is it's kind of culty. Um, but yeah, like it's the passion that really drives me, that really helps me push through the whole hunger levels, the lethargy, the um, all that pain and suffering that I was talking about while going through prep, and especially like while living in Canada for 6 weeks, and all these temptations, to eat out and shit and all that, um, and yet I still like stuck with it. Um, and I know for most people that wouldn't be. Most people would just say fuck it, and they wouldn't even be able to go a week uh, of dieting while traveling. But I managed to lose an average of 1 pound, a little more than 1 pound a week while I was in Canada. So I lost like about 6 to 7 pounds while I was in Canada. And yeah, Alberto, my coach, he was very surprised. He said not too many people can pull that off. So um, yeah, I felt pretty good about that. I felt it really it really that really like made me more self-aware and told me that it was a good indicator that I really love this sport, that I'm willing to sacrifice a good amount for for bodybuilding, you know, and yeah, yeah. What like right now, what you're seeing in the footage is we're at Walmart, and a friend, actually Justin, he's a dating coach who actually lives in Toronto, Canada. He has hookups with a lot of the good clubs over there in Toronto, and he invited Barmack and I to come out to this club with him. However, Barmack and I did not prepare club acceptable club clothes, nightclub clothes, nightclub attire um, to wear. So we are out here right here in Walmart, doing a little shopping. I think our budget was like $15 each person, and we were able to actually get a pretty decent outfit for $15 each person. Um, you'll see a little bit here in you'll see the the full outfit in a little bit here in the footages, but yeah, like losing that much body fat since last year of November. I mean, right now I'm at 157, so I've lost like Jesus, like 63 pounds of fat so far. Um, and I guess this is a good time to kind of go into my whole ayahuasca experience. Uh, so, so ayahuasca. So I think dieting is a lot. It's just my theory, but I think dieting this year, or contest prepping this year, it seems a lot more difficult than it would have been, simply because, well, maybe not so simply, but I think doing ayahuasca has definitely contributed to making this prep a little more difficult than it would have been if I hadn't done it. Simply because ayahuasca basically is such a powerful, potent psychedelic that it it does take a huge mental and I think physical as well toll on you for at least several months because I ever since I took ayahuasca back in November 2016, for a good 2 months, my appetite was severely suppressed. Uh, so I wasn't like I was so the opposite of hungry. I so did not want to eat to the point where I think I was eating at some days like 500 calories a day, and that was simply because the ayahuasca just fucked my appetite up. Yeah, so basically I was eating, I think at like the peak of my bulk, like right before doing ayahuasca, I was eating like 5,000 calories on average per day, which was the reason for, the all that fat gain. So think about going from 5,000 calories one day and then going down to 500 another day. That definitely probably affected my basal meta. Not I don't want to say too much, but it definitely had um, affected the start of my prep, the start of my fat loss, uh, to some degree at least. Simply because like that's such a big gap right there, like 5,000 to 500. Um, like had I just cut the calories normally as I did, like my previous my previous prep, it probably yeah, like I would have probably had a lot easier time dieting down this year. Don't get me wrong, like it's still easy for me compared to most people. I lose fat like super easily. Um, but just the mental emotional aspect of it was just, oh man, there were some days where I honestly thought I was gonna quit. Like I honestly thought like I was gonna pull out of this whole contest prep thing. Like I was so ready to tell my coach, hey, you know what, yo, I can't do this anymore. And I think it was a good like 5, 6 times where I legit was that close to telling my coach that I'm throwing in the towel. Um, but I basically rationalized, I was able to rationalize or logically tell myself or mindfuck myself into basically saying, hey man, so if you're gonna commit to something, you gotta go all the way, no matter how difficult it becomes. That's the whole point of commitment. And I know for a fact that if I don't follow through now, while things are really difficult, um, then that's already a bad way to start. Not start, but it's already like I know for a fact that I know myself, and I know that I would regret it. I would regret backing out simply because I'm one of those stubborn fuckers who just has to finish what he started. If I'm gonna do something, I better fucking go all the way. So yeah, I was able to just process out, sort my mind out, and pretty much mind fuck myself into continuing this prep. Um, and if any of my friends or family are watching this, and I think I know that you know who you are when I say this, but I I'm really sorry for treating the way I treated you. Um, it definitely wasn't uh, in, like definitely wasn't intentional or anything like that. It's I know it's no excuse. Um, it's definitely no excuse to treat people that way. You know, even no matter how much shit you're going through. Part of Another part of becoming a man is taking responsibility and ownership of all your actions and behaviors. Um, and at the end of the day, like this whole bodybuilding thing is something I do. It's not who I am. It's not like it's not my priority. My priority is relationships and people. My people, the people I love. So yeah, it did definitely come to the point where like my relationships were being put on the back burner. But I know, but I'm so glad I realized this, and I'm so glad that I realized that I'm fucking crazy. That I know as soon as this fucking prep is over, that I'm gonna start eating food again. I'm gonna get back to normal, and I'm gonna treat my loved ones right, my friends and family right, and of course, uh, get back to bulking, but of course not dirty bulking. I plan to not go over 185 pounds this year. That'll be like the cap. But yeah, I'm also gonna have I'm gonna have Alberto continue to coach me even through my off season to make sure that I progress nicely. Um, and a little more on ayahuasca before I close out this video. So like when I mentioned that ayahuasca is very taxing mentally and physically, I actually I actually went through a very tough period. I think I'd say like the darkest, um, most difficult period of my life, uh, in my opinion, occurred right after doing ayahuasca. Um, Lasted about, I want to say, 8 months. So from like November uh, to to like August. Like even as I'm like coming back from Canada, uh, it was I I believe I was going through all the symptoms of someone who has this mental, quote unquote, mental disorder called depersonalization disorder, which is basically what it is. If you get a chance to Google it, that'll be uh, you might get some pretty interesting info on this. But just to keep it short, sweet and short, it's basically when you kind of lose your grounding in reality, and you just question everything, and you don't even know what's real anymore. It's very terrifying, very scary place to be. I think I had panic attacks every day, multiple times a day, throughout the day for at least a good, you know, like 4 or 5 months following ayahuasca. And it, I think it finally, like after month 8, post ayahuasca, things kind of felt a little more normal. But I know I'll never be the same again. I'll get more into it later. This is like the end of the footage, but I'll see you in part 3.